Hi Dan! Karl Marx once said, "Under no pretext should arms and ammunition be surrendered. Any attempt to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force, if necessary." And I agree with him. However, the right's justification for firearm ownership are either unimportant, sport shooting, hunting, or classist, protection of private property. I think that a desperate person willing to break into a house to steal in order to eke out an existence isn't going to stop stealing due to the risk of being shot. They'll merely pick the least, quote, risky home. A better solution is establishing a universal basic income. I think it is one of the most important political movements currently going. And I'm going to pause from the email right there to define that term. Universal basic income is a form of social security system in which all citizens or residents of a country regularly receive an unconditional sum of money, either from a government or some other public institution, in addition to any income received from elsewhere. This would help basically everyone. We need to push for it now. It can't be something we push for when automation takes over our jobs because we will collapse before then. Poverty is a source for so many other symptoms like prison flooding, poor economy, drug use, painful debt slavery, and very low wages. Let's wipe it out. You can help by spreading the word. Please, from Alex. Since Ronald Reagan, wealth in America has concentrated itself more and more densely further and further up the economic food chain, right? His tax policies were designed to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, and they have worked. Couple that with technological progress, and I will concede, in the short term, technology improves everyone's quality of life. But in the long term, the economics of tech are more troubling. It also serves to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Let's take, for example, the company Kodak. Right through the 70s and 80s and early 90s, they had a huge market share in the photography space, right? They were a multi-billion-dollar company and they employed thousands of people. Now, with the advent of digital photography, it probably comes as no surprise to you that Kodak is really struggling, right? They have filed for bankruptcy. So what's a 21st century equivalent for like consumer photography? I don't know, maybe Instagram? You might well remember headlines from a few years ago when Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion. So they are definitely analogous to Kodak in terms of like value, both billion-dollar companies. But you know how many employees Instagram had when they got bought out? 13. If you stop and think about this, it makes perfect sense. Technology is all about improving efficiency, and when a corporation becomes more efficient, what does that mean on the ground level? That means you don't need as many employees, right? If you go to the pharmacy and you use a self-checkout, guess what? That used to be a cashier. They're making as much money off of the stuff you're buying, but instead of paying someone's salary, that's just going straight to the CEO, right? Cars are about to start driving themselves. They already are in some side cases. So what happens to Uber as a company when that happens? Its drivers don't have a job anymore, but that money, it's still the same amount of money. It goes all to the CEO. Rich people get richer, damn it. Our economy is already stupidly lopsided, but if you fast forward like 25 odd years without a dedicated redistribution effort, the whole thing grinds to a halt, right? All of our jobs are taken by robots. None of us have income. Without income, we can't be consumers, and without consumers, the whole thing doesn't work. Basic income isn't just a good idea. It's a necessary idea. The next question is just obviously, well, how do we pay for that, Dan? I'm glad that I pretended to be you and that pretend you asked me, because I have an article I looked up that has some great suggestions. Let me read them to you. We could return the tax rate on the super rich to pre-Reagan levels. There's an idea. We could cut our military budget. We could cut subsidies to oil companies. We give them a lot of money. We could introduce penalties for polluters. We could also, actually this is an interesting idea, we could tie a basic income to corporate profits, right? Create basically a citizen's dividend. A dividend is an amount of money that shareholders in a stock get every quarter or so. The means exist, right? It's just a matter of building the political will, which I'm confident we can. It might be a slow burn, a decades-long burn, a generational burn, but if this is an interesting idea to you, Alex referred me to reddit.com/r/basic income. It's a community that I actually already subscribe to, Alex, but it's great. Check it out, join, and let's, I don't know, save the planet or something? Seriously though.